Hi viewers. So today we will be talking about some important commands such as layers and design centers. Regarding layers, they are mostly used when we want to draw objects with different properties than other objects. Like we can add civil works in one layer, we can add electrical system of a map or a house. In another layer, we can add sanitary system. In another layers, we can add windows and doors in another layer, and thereby if you want to change any objects in another layer, we can turn off all the other layers and we can perform some operations like modifying some objects or adding some objects into a specific layer, and we can hide other layers for ease. We would not have to select each item and then hide them for the sake of clarity, and we can perform some operations with ease. We can also add layers when we try to add objects with different properties. Like in one layer we can just add solid objects or solid lines. In another layer we can add center lines. In another layers we can add details about hidden lines or objects with hidden lines that can be formed with hidden lines. So layers, they are mostly used for this purpose, but it increases the easiness in selecting objects, in modifying objects, and it is especially used in complex system designing. Now for layers, the short form is LA enter. So if you write LA enter, then a window opens up. This is the layer properties manager. Here we can see that the default layer is at 0. We cannot rename it, but we can add layer by this icon. If we click over here, let's suppose rename this layer to be center lines. Let the color be yellowish. Click OK. The line type should be center line, and here it is only continuous, so we have to load these line types. So click on load, search for center, and we will select the first one. Click on center. OK. Now select again the center and then click on OK. So now we can see that the line type has been changed. Similarly, we can change the line weight. By default it is very thin line, so let us give it some thickness of suppose 0.2. Click on OK. From these options we can turn on and off any layer. So here we have turned it off, and if we click again, if the bulb is on, that means this layer is turned on. We can freeze any layer, and that means we cannot add or remove objects from that layer. We can also lock or unlock layers using this lock icon. Let us consider adding new layers. So click on this icon, rename it by just one click, and then click again. Write hidden lines. Let the color be blue. The line type should be hidden line, and we can't see a hidden line over here, so we have to load it. Hidden start from H, so look for H, and now we can see hidden option. So click on the hidden line and click on OK. Click on hidden line again and then click on OK. Now we can see that the line type has changed to hidden lines. Now here let us select 0.09 to be the line weight for hidden lines. Click on OK, and now we can see that the line weight has changed. Now let us consider adding another layer where we will be drawing solid objects with solid lines or continuous lines. So we will call this layer as solid lines. The line type should be continuous. Click on OK, and the line weight, because the solid lines have a larger thickness or weight, we will select 0.3 mm as the line weight for solid objects. So click on OK. Now let us consider adding another layer, and let's say if this layer has been added with no use, so we would want to remove this. So for that, click on this delete option and then click on apply. We can see that that layer has been removed. If you are okay with these settings, now let us change the color type of this layer 3, which is solid line, and let it be white color. Click on OK, then click on OK again. Now if you can't see any layer option in this menu or in these icons, you can bring the layers option in front of you by right click on the gray area, click on AutoCAD, and then click on layers, and now we can see that this layer option is in front of us. If we click on this layers option, we can see that 3 layers have been added to this file. Now let us select solid line layers where we will be drawing solid objects, and let us add a rectangle and a polygon. So click on rectangle, click anywhere, give the dimension of 15, tab 15, enter. And now we are in the solid lines layer, but we can't see whether the line weight has been increased or not. So for that we have to turn this LWT option on, and now we can see that exactly the line type and line weight formatting has been applied to this layer, and now we can see it or visualize it. Let us consider adding a polygon as well. So now click on this polygon icon, let this number of sides be 5, enter. A pentagon, trace this midpoint, click away, click on inscribed, and let the radius be traced from this point, and we can just click over here. Now let us consider drawing some center lines. For that we have to move to this center line layer, click on line, trace the midpoint, click away, and then click here, enter. Again press enter to draw another line which passes through the center points of the rectangle, just like this. Again enter to get out of the command, and enter again to get into the same command. Let us trace this line. Now let us trace this midpoint again. We got the intersection, click, and then click equal to this line. So we have traced the endpoint of the line, and now we can click and then press enter to get out of the command. Now we can see that these lines, they are different than the one used in the solid objects or solid layer. So if we can't see the gaps between the dashes, we can increase the line type scaling, and for that the short form is LTS enter. And now increase the scale to, let's suppose, 3, enter, and now we can see the gaps have been increased and we can see the line type visually. Now consider adding 2 circles. Click on this intersection for center point and let the diameter be 5. So D enter, 5 enter. Click on this circle, click on copy, click on the center point as base point, and then place this circle over this intersection and press enter to get out of the command. Now we want these circles to be drawn in the hidden line, so they have been selected now, and we will just click on the layers option, click on hidden lines layer, and now press escape to visualize whether they have been transferred to that layer or not. We are still in the center line layer, but the selected objects were clicked and then the hidden line was selected, and these items, these circles, have been shifted to that layer. So this is how we can shift items between layers or from one layer to another layer. Now if we can't see the scaling or the line types, we can increase the scale by LTS enter. Let the scale be now 5, enter. Here we can see the dashes now. If the space is large between the dashes, we can decrease the scaling by LTS enter and let the scaling be 0.5. Now if we can zoom this, we can see a lot of dashes with very small spaces between them. So if this is not okay, press LTS again and then write 3, enter. So this scale looks okay. Now if you want to turn off any layer in order to visualize objects in another layer, or if we want to add or modify any objects in the existing layer, we can turn off all the other layers. So for example, if I turn off this center line and hidden lines and click outside, the current layer is turned off. Okay, and now we can select solid lines and we can work in the solid lines layer. Like if you want to draw rave cloud, enter again to again start producing the rev cloud. Now if everything in this layer has been completed, we can go back to layers and turn on the other layers, click outside, and now those objects are back. We don't have to select them each time we want to turn them off. We will just turn off the entire layer. The next command we are going to look is design center, and for that the short form is DC enter. Now design center has already drawn objects in the form of blocks which the engineers quite oftenly use. So for example, electrical engineers use basic electronic objects like diode, resistance, inductor, batteries, speakers, transistors, bridge circuits, ground, AC, battery, fuse, etc. So these objects, they are drawn in the form of blocks. They exist within these files, and just by 2-3 clicks we don't have to draw these objects again and again. So these are already stored within AutoCAD directory. So let us trace the path. If in any computer where the AutoCAD is installed and by DC command you can't see any objects in the form of these blocks, then you have to trace the path. So for that, go to desktop, click on this PC, click on local disk C. Don't click on AutoCAD 2007 here, click on program 86. So here you will double click over here, and now you can see AutoCAD 2007. Double click over here, double click on sample, then design center, and now we can see different important files which contains these blocks. So for example, if you click on kitchen and double click on blocks, we can see a base cabinet, a light switch. We can get the preview of these objects, how they look like. Similarly, microwave oven, range oven, refrigerator, sink double, wall cabinet, and others. So just by left click and then drag this object, don't release the click, and then place outside of the window in the black region of the screen and release the click, and that object has been placed over there. You don't have to draw these objects again and again. You can just use DC command, and from there you can get these objects already made for engineers. Now if you go to basic electronics file, so click on up again, and the third file is basic electronics. Double click over here, double click on blocks, and now we can see various basic electronic objects like resistance. So click on resistance, drag it, and then release. We can see a small dot over here, but if we can zoom it, this is actually a resistance with very minute size. Similarly, click on inductor, place it over here. Click on diode, place them over here. Similarly, click on speaker. You can also use double clicking. So if we double click the speaker, click on OK, and now move the cursor without clicking. You can just click anywhere you want now, and that speaker has been placed at the click region. So if you can zoom these objects, we can see that a resistance, an inductor, a diode, and a speaker has been added to the screen, but the scale is quite smaller. So let us close this window, click on close, zoom out, and now if we click and select these objects, we can increase the scale. So click on this scale icon, let this be the base point, and let the scale factor be increased to, for example, 25. Enter. If we zoom out, we can see these objects. So click on these blocks. So we can click on the blue dot and then move the cursor, and that the object will move along with the cursor. So click on this diode, click on the blue dot and bring them nearer. Click on the speaker, click on blue dot, bring them nearer to each other. And now we can see that these objects are acting as a block, because with clicking we get just one blue dot, and that means we can either move them or copy them. We cannot edit them, right? So if you want to edit them, we have to click on these blocks. For example, if you click on these blocks, click on explode. So they have been exploded. Now this line is a separate entity, this line is a separate entity, this arc is a separate entity, and these lines, they are also separate entities, right? But if we click on resistance, it is still a polyline. So from block it has converted into a polyline. So we have to click on this resistance, click on explode again, and now we can see that from block to polyline, and now from polyline to single entities, it has been converted, right? So now we can edit them, we can color them. Let's suppose we want to add another layer. So LA, enter, click on new layer, let it be electrical objects, let the color be red, click on OK, let the lines be continuous, and now let us decrease the line weight. So let it be 0.2, click on OK, and then click on OK again, and let us select these objects, go to layers, and now click on electrical objects. So they have been transferred to electrical objects. In order to visualize them, we have to change the properties of these objects to the layer or by layer. So if you click on by layer, press escape, we can see that the layer formatting has been performed on these objects. So this is how we can use DC command and layers, and they really make the drawing easy for us. Now if we want to add another file, so click on file, click on new, and then click on AutoCAD, double click actually. Now here there is just one layer. If you want to add the same layers just like the previous file, we can go to design center. So for the DC, enter, and we will click on this open folder option. So click on open folders or open drawings. Then there are two drawings opened. So this is drawing 2 where we are working now, and before this we were writing in drawing 1. So if you click on drawing 1 and click on the layers, right? So this is drawing 2 and this is drawing 1, the previous file where we were drawing objects, and we double click on the layers, we can see that those layers are mentioned over here. Now if we can double click on center line, double click on electrical objects, and go to layers option, we can see that those layers have been added to this file, right? We can also drag this hidden line layer and then release it on the black screen, and now we can see that a hidden layer is also added to this file. Click on solid line, drag it, release at the black screen, and now we can see that the solid layer or solid line layer has also been added. So we can add blocks from previous layers, we can add objects from previous layers. So in the last file we saw that using DC command we dragged these blocks, and these blocks are already saved in that file in drawing 1. So in the drawing 2 we can bring them as it is. So DC command is quite useful and it is used quite oftenly within drawings. So this was all about layers and design center. Now the last thing we are going to look at is dimensions, how we can perform dimensions. Now in the window section we can go to drawing 1 where we have already drawn some objects and inserted some blocks, right? So now we would want to perform some dimensioning, and for that let us add another layer. LA enter. Let's add another layer and dimensions. Let the color be green color. Click on OK. The line type should be continuous and the line weight, let it be a lighter line. So let's give it the value of 0.13, and now click on OK again. Go to dimension layer. So click on dimensions. Now click on dimensions and click on linear. So we want to find the dimension or the length between this point and this point, and then click outside. And now if you can zoom it, the value is 15. So in the beginning we have drawn this rectangle of 15 by 15 size, so the value is correct. Now click on dimensions, click on radius and click on this circle, click outside, and now we can see that 2.5 radius circle has been drawn over here. If you remember, this diameter was 5, so the radius is 2.5. It's correct. Again, click on dimensions, click on diameter, click on this circle, click outside, and now you can see that the diameter is 5. Click on dimensions, click on angle. So let's select the first line. Let this be the line. Let us select the second line, so let this be the line. And now click outside or inside and zoom. We can see that this angle between these two perpendicular lines is 90 angle. So this is how we can perform angular dimensioning or dimension of an angle. Let us trim this object. So TR enter, click over here, click over here, escape. Now let us draw a line from this intersection to here, enter. Now TR enter and click over here. Now if you want to find out the length of this arc, we have to click on dimensions, click on arc length, select this arc length, click outside, and now we can see that the arc length is 2.5784 units. Again, if you want to find out the angle, click on angular, click on this inclined line, click on this vertical line this time, and click away. So this angle is 31 degree and the other angle is 59 degree, and these two makes up 90 angle, which is shown over here. Similarly, we can explore the baseline option or continuous option for dimensioning. If you want to show the number of circles, if they are 14, we can use leader line to show this detail, like the number of objects total drawn of similar sizes, they can be shown with the help of leader lines. We can give the tolerances, we can change the dimension style. So because now in this view we can see that the dimensions, they are not observable. So let us go to dimensions and click on dimension style, click on modify. This window opens up. Now the lines, their color is selected by block, line type is selected by block, line weight, so that's okay. Extension lines, dimensions lines, this is okay. Now the offset from origin is smaller, so let's give it some value of, let's say, 1. Click on symbol and arrows. The arrow size is quite smaller, so let's give it the value of 1. Now the text style should be increased to, for example, 2. The text style, we can change the text style, like click on these 3 dots. Let us select Times New Roman, so T, and now we can see that Times New Roman is there. We can select the font style, like regular, bold, italic. Let it be regular. Let the height be 3. Click on apply, click on close. Now go to primary units. In these objects, we didn't see any object with dimensions in points, so Let's select a precision of 0.0 point 0 and click on OK. Click on close. We can see that now the dimension style is visible, but still we have to adjust the sizes so that the objects, they are not distorted and the dimensions, they should be visible. So now here we have removed the cupboard and brought the resistor, inductor, diode and speaker nearer to these objects. Now let us go to dimension style. So click on dimension, click on dimension style, click on modify, click on symbol and arrows, change the arrow size to 1, click on text, change the text to 0.5, click on primary units, change the precision to 0.0 and the round off figure to be 0.0 again. Click on OK, click on close. Now let us visualize if the dimensions looks okay. We can still move the dimensions from one place to another or one side to another. We can also move the arc length. Only we can also move this dimension in the upward direction. And now if we visualize these dimensions in the layout, we can see the colors, the line types of solid objects, dimension lines, center lines and hidden lines. And the color of the blocks is also changed according to the layer settings or formatting. If this looks okay, then we can take the printout using Ctrl P command. We are going to look at other options within Design Center, Dimensions and Layers in the upcoming videos, especially in the practice sessions. But if you find something difficult in this lecture and if you don't understand anything related to DC, layers or dimensioning within this lecture, you can always let me know in the comment section. Thank you for watching.